go to college, right, it kind of shapes you as a person. Because before that, you're living under your parents' shadow. Engineering education is less about, the what and more about the how. The jugaduness or the fact that just tell me where to reach, I'll figure out a way how to reach that. I think that part that is inculcated. Like, we know that there's an exam tomorrow.
Yeah.
We know none of us have books.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So, thinking on your feet,
Yeah.
figuring out that let's look at last year's notes, or let's just ask somebody, or there are lots of things that we did at that time.
Yeah.
Some ethical, some unethical, but whatever it is that we did to get to the result, I think that process is more important.
Great.
And I think that defines engineer.
Now tell us, exit from the college. How was the situation? Placement scene?
Yeah.
How, were you anxious? Were you confident? Where did you want to be? And where did you arrive? Like, expectation versus reality check.
So I was, at that time, I was not an overthinker at all.
Okay.
I've changed a lot since then, but at that time, I was like this free bird. Never used to bother that much about future. I still remember TCS was the first company that came to our college, and unfortunately or fortunately, whatever, the Harry Potter book 6 was released on that day only. So clearly, my priorities were always with Harry Potter. I had to read it. So I actually went to the bookshop and sat there. It was actually released in India at 6 a.m. And it came to Jaipur via road by 12.
Same day.
Same day.
Okay.
So from 6 a.m. till 12 p.m., I was sitting outside the shop.
Whoa.
And I was not the only one.
Okay.
So there were like 20-25 people who were sitting outside that bookshop. We were just waiting for that Harry Potter book to come. And the next day was TCS placement.
Okay.
So I still remember that whole day I didn't worry about TCS and all. I just consoled myself, koi baat nahi. TCS ke baad bhi there are more companies, but Harry Potter, I have to read it today. So there was no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
So I read Harry Potter and then I went for the TCS interview. Next day I was fully satisfied. I had no doubt I had made the wrong decision. I was fully clear this is the right one.
Okay.
And coincidentally, TCS mein they don't ask you that many technical questions.
Yeah.
So there was one person who was interviewing me, and he asked me what are the 3 laws of motion.
Okay.
So I was nervous at that time. I didn't know what happened. I forgot the 3rd law of motion. And then he's like, come on, this is it. I was like, okay, sorry. I haven't slept. Then he's like, okay, why haven't you slept? So then I just told him, this is what happened. In hindsight, I realized that I had even less of a filter than I do right now. But that's what I told him. And he said that it seems that you read a lot. Do you also write? I said, yeah, I write. They asked me to recite one of my poems, and that's how I got selected into TCS. So I don't know what happened there, but that's how I got selected to TCS. Now, if that happens to any person, right? Don't prepare. Go there first day, and this happens. Goes to your head. So I was like, I am a super fundu person. I didn't give any other exams after that. Then there was this dream company coming to our college. Its name was Windshuttle.
Okay. So the concept of a dream company, tell us.
So dream company is like it's above a package range.
Okay.
So at that time, TCS used to offer like around 3.5 lakhs in.
Okay, so anybody who gives you a much bigger amount?
Above some X.
You
I
can
don't
do-
know what that X was.
Okay.
But above some X,
Okay.
it used to be Dream and
Okay.
then Super Dream.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So what happened is like my friend Mansi told me ki now everybody is gone home.
Hmm.
I want to sit in this company and you come at least get my aptitude test clear.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll get your aptitude test clear. I sat with her. And my test got cleared. And yeah, that's how I went to Windshuttle.
Okay. Windshuttle, that's how it became
Yeah.
your first company.
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts like you really wanted to be in a company like that, or it's in Chandigarh, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's in Chandigarh.
nobody plans to be in Chandigarh, like, or it just happened and you
It just happened. I actually wanted to be in Chandigarh because when I went for the interview, I saw the city, and like I told you, I was not that big critical thinker about my life and what direction it would take. So I used to take very decisions from the heart, basically. So I saw the city, I liked it. I was like, yeah, this sounds good, and they're giving more money also. So this is the
Yeah.
place to be.
But in hindsight, if you have to, let's say, mentor somebody, would you advise them to take decisions from heart? It has turned out well in your case, and you have steadily learned and grown in your career. So, like, is it a good thing to do, or what would you want to go back and change something?
I think you should take either or approach. You should not mix it.
In the middle is a dangerous
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Okay.
Either you should take decisions from your heart and accept whatever happens after that. So you should have that kind of sense of acceptance after that. Or you should take decisions with your brain and then automatically you'll have that sense of acceptance.
Makes sense. So now you have ended up in Windshuttle or
Yeah.
landed your dream job in Windshuttle. How did the dreams pan out to be? Like, give us a brief.
It was good. It was I would say almost like a second family because there was heavy bias on recruitment of freshers, and wherever you just recruit freshers, you will have a different culture altogether.
Yeah.
So in fact, a lot of us even right now are very good friends. So I would say that experience was very, very crucial for me because it shaped me a lot as a professional.
Okay. Okay.
And you know, I had my first salary from Windshuttle. There were so many firsts in Windshuttle that I remember it to this day. So it's a very fond memory, and of course, I mean, Chandigarh is again a very important part of who I am.
Yeah. Great. So again, let's move to the next step. What made you leave Windshuttle and get to your next step in your professional career?
Actually, I left Windshuttle pretty late. I stayed 4.5 years there because I was so contented and I didn't see the need for moving.
Which is often how we think.
Yeah.
Like, if everything is going good, why change?
Yeah.
So what triggered the change?
So what happened was I was in Delhi I was visiting my nani or something, and I got a call from the HR of Govers.
Okay.
And she was very insistent कि चलो at least take an interview. I know you're not looking for a change. Take an interview. So I took a couple of interviews and they went well. Now the thing was that I had to go to Gurgaon. Now it's like कि I'm not even looking for a change. Why would I even go to Gurgaon and all that? So again I went to my grandparents' place and coincidentally her call came again.
Okay.
And at the spur of the moment, I was like, okay, let's go and give the interview.
Okay.
So I went and gave the interviews, and they went well, reasonably well. And that's how I went to Govers. So, in fact, Govers was something that I'd never heard of before, although it was a very well-known name in NCR because the leadership of Govers had a reputation for hiring people from IITs. In fact, I and probably a couple of more people were the only non-IITians in the team. The first day when I went to attend the stand-up in the morning, the updates of everybody around me were so technical, they went over my head. So मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आया उस दिन. Then what are they even talking about? I couldn't make head or tail out of it. So I was like, am I in the wrong place? I mean, will I be able to survive here also? And then I thought,
the famous imposter syndrome, like kicked in.
Yeah, and every time, I mean, if you are the best in the room, you will never learn anything more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you are not the best in the room, there's a great learning curve ahead of you. And that's where actually I met my husband.
Okay.
He helped me out a lot
Okay.
in the starting. And Govers was where I actually got introduced to big data.
Okay. Okay.
So,
and it is still like a constant in
yeah,
your
that's
professional
been
journey.
a constant.
Okay, interesting. And how long did you stay there?
I think I stayed there around 2.5 years. Govers actually ran into bad times.
Okay.
And so there was like this mass firing from Govers. I had got married by then, and we had our son. And in those days, the maternity leave was 3 months. So I came back from my maternity leave, and I found out I had been fired. My manager had been fired. His manager had been fired. So our full line had gotten fired.
And is at this time both your husband and you were in Govers?
Yeah, but he was not fired. Yeah.
Okay, so one of you.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah. So that means what happened when they gave a very good severance package. I don't remember, 3 or 4 months. So I kind of got a 6-month maternity leave.
Tell us, how did that firing news? How did you treat it? Like, were you still that carefree, worry free, let it come, or like?
I was worry free because I just had a baby.
Okay.
I was not frankly thinking too much about what's happening here. I just come to office and everybody was sitting together. It was everybody was gossiping.
Okay.
So I didn't have much time to think about that, what's going to happen in the future. We had some savings and I knew I'd get a job. I was anyways thinking should I extend my maternity leave?
Okay.
So a lot of things were playing on my mind. I don't think I was too worried at that time. So I came back home. I spent like 20-25 days. I was like really chilled out. And then I started looking for a job.
Okay.
And I interviewed everywhere. I got my first offer from a company in Bangalore.
Okay.
I told my husband that, will you come with me to Bangalore? He's like, chill, you'll get a job in NCR. You haven't even applied anywhere. And then I got through Hype.
Okay.
They had the most amazing office. So before this, I was in Windshuttle and Govers. Their offices were good.
Yeah.
But Hype was another level.
Yeah.
I had never seen an office like this. So I mean, it was in World Mark 1 building of Aero City. And that itself is a very nice place.
Yeah.
And the office inside, I mean, it was another level. And I was very happy at Hike. Primarily because, see, Hike had both data as well as it had no limit on infrastructure, right? And it was a startup. Although it was like, it had been some time, but it had the freedom of a startup. So whatever knowledge I had gained from Govers in the big data space, I actually got to apply it in Hype.
Okay.
So the pace of work was really fast.
Yeah.
And the ideas used to come, they used to get implemented, but there was no or very lean process, right? The organizations were mostly flat. Like at Hike, the CEO used to sit on the same desk as I did. So it was a very flat talk. And then I came to Walmart.
Okay. So we'll spend a little bit more time between this and that. Like, you've been in NCR, and as you mentioned, there was a preference to stick around in NCR. Then how did this decision come along of now finally leaving NCR? Because anybody who works in that part of India has that big curve to cross. So how did it span out in your case?
So my husband Pankaj, he got an offer from Amazon. He asked me that should we go to Bangalore? And again, I'm more of an adventurous person. I tend to go to the side of adventure before thinking through it completely. So I said yes, let's go. So I said yes, he moved, and then I started worrying a little that like, because till that time my son was small, and my parents used to live like 10 houses away from us. Mostly they only used to take care of him. So we were managing somehow. But coming to Bangalore, thinking about how to leave my son in a crash, so all that was freaking me out. But now I had already said yes. My husband had moved. I had to go. So I couldn't stop it at that time.
Now the bullets are
So,
flying.
so I just, went with the flow, and then I started putting up artificial barriers that if we have to go to Bangalore, you have to take a house in Mantri Espana, otherwise I'm not coming. So he took a house here. So now I practically had nothing to.
No leverage. Now, what's your take on this city and the job you have? Like,
Now I won't change this for anything.
let's make a little bit of segue and continue on the same track. Like, you work with smaller companies, startups for quite a lot of time, and same amount of time spent in a Fortune 1 company. Now, in hindsight, what is your preference? Like, let's say for next 5 years, if you have to pick, would you work for a large company like Walmart, or would you want to go back to a startup environment? Like, how has your preference evolved, and how should our viewers think about navigating through their
I really think that as a budding IC, if I had to make this choice deliberately all over again, I would choose the same. I would choose to spend the first part of my career in startups where your learning is maximized. Because, like I said, if you get an idea on Saturday and by the next Friday it's in production, there's a hell lot of stuff that you learn there,
Absolutely.
right? And that kind of learning, at least tech-wise, cannot happen in the bigger company.
It'll take its own time because
It
of
will
the
take-
processes.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that part I would not change at all. But when you have to grow as a leader, right? Whether it's as an IC or a manager, I feel you need to have a wider perspective.
Absolutely.
So I had a manager who used to tell me, Surbhi, see, there's a concept called a T-shaped individual. So you're deep in one area, but you have breadth of knowledge in everything, and that's what you should aim for. And that has actually stuck with me
Very interesting.
a lot.
Very
So I think I've developed the vertical part of the T to some extent, but that breadth is what I think you get from a bigger.
Got it.
And your perspective also changes, right? So supposing you're implementing something in a week, you will definitely not think about the maintenance, scalability, and those kind of aspects of it.
Oh yes.
Right? Versus you spend 4 months just answering questions about a particular feature, not even a product, particular feature. You will think about each and every aspect.
Absolutely. And for all the right reasons.
And for all the right reasons. I would say, where's the sweet spot? I would say somewhere in middle of the two, but I think both the experiences have their own
Got it.
merit. Eventually, I would like to go to a startup and apply whatever I have learned in these bigger firms there.
Nice. So you start where you acquire skills, you apply skills in a bigger playground. Collectively, you would want to again go back to a startup. Very interesting advice.